All right, Toby. What's happening in Tag Team, do you think?
So this is the episode where an even bigger bad than Zurg comes up, and so Buzz and Zurg have to team up to fight against this even bigger bad. And for some reason they're like chained together like old school like robbery style.
If I'm remembering this episode correctly, you are like one step to the left of it.
What the fuck?
And honestly, one step to the left of a different episode as well.
That's crazy.
Welcome to Infinity and Rewind, a Buzz Lightyear of Star Command rewatch, review, contextualization, talk about podcast. I'm your co-host, Victor.
I'm your other co-host, Toby.
And I'm Alexander. I'm also here.
So, this week we watched Tag Team.
Yes.
It is... Which number in the series is this on?
This is production code number 16.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
So, Toby, do you want to tell us what happened in this episode and compare it to your prediction?
Yeah, I'll get us started. So, I was wrong in my prediction a little bit. Just a little bit. In which, it is not Zurg that Buzz is teaming up with, but it is Dark Warp Star. Damn it. I'm gonna ruin this man's name Warp Dark Matter. I'm gonna ruin this man's name every time. It's just gonna be a compilation of me just Warp Dark something. Nailed it.
Dark Warp Star is my favorite so far.
Dark Warp Star. He's a Kirby character in my head, I'm sorry. But it was Warp that he was actually teamed up with. So the episode starts off with this really good, like, choreographed, like flight battle between Warp and Buzz on the Scuzzy Trade World planet. And it ends very suddenly with, like, kind of a classic alien, like, blink. And then they both kind of wake up in sort of separate locations. Buzz wakes up at Star Command only to find out that there's a weird little chip in the back of his neck. He's been tracked by something. And even the LGMs can't really get that something off of him. So they tell him, hey bud, you gotta stay home for a while. Because we don't know what's happening, we don't know why you're tracked, but it's definitely not good. So go home. So Buzz is like, fine, yeah, I'll take the vacation. So he stays home for a little bit and just cleans the whole place in a very, like, Tomorrowland. Like, I noticed that his whole neighborhood is very Tomorrowland-esque, which I thought was really cool. And it gets to a point where he gets so bored because he is a workaholic by nature. So he pulls out his old hot rod and Amazon orders him a spacesuit in order to figure out what the hell's happening. And he makes his way over to the asteroid that Warp has, like, this swanky ass, like, mansion with a hot
it's on the moon, by the way.
And, like, oh, it's on the moon?
Yeah.
He owns the moon.
He owns the moon, which is wild to me. He has this swanky ass mansion on the moon where he is just lounging and having the grubs sort of figure out what's wrong with him. Only for the grubs, as soon as Buzz makes an appearance, and be like, hey, what the hell did you do? Only for Warp to say, hey, what the hell did you do? What the hell's this? The grubs tell them both that, like, oh yeah, you both were tracked by...
I think the LGMs determine it first, and then Buzz tells Warp what the LGMs figured out, and then has the grubs confirm.
Yes. So the LGMs tell Buzz what's going on, and then the grubs confirm it.
They decide to figure out, like, who tagged them by tracking the signal through Warp's, like, cable-stealing device. They sort of dodge around some asteroids and land and immediately get caught breaking into what it turns out to be a lab with these three scientists in it. They are the Clorm, Eon, Epoch, and Era, who are just from some other planet, not familiar to anyone else, and they have been studying them for years
Since the academy
to find out the difference between good and evil. The original was just to study them in general.
The original point of the study is to see whether or not their kind is ready for like their technology because they view themselves as superior to other races, and they want to find a race that they view on equal terms with them to share their stuff with. But because Warp went evil, they decided that, like, what if we changed the study to be about good versus evil instead?
I was gonna say, what a bonkers-ass study to do. It turned into, like a biology study of, like, how do these things, these humanoid things work, to, actually, we're gonna turn this into an ethics thing. Good versus evil. Let's go.
Two of the scientists are, like, kind of on opposing, like, ends of this. One of them is very invested in, like, good being, the winner, and the other one thinks evil is fun and cool, and they're just going to, go on to the last part of the study. They're going to dissect Buzz and Warp.
Oh, yeah.
So they have to figure out how to get out of there.
Mm-hmm.
They manage with Buzz's cunning to, like, hit one of the lasers to cut out Warp and then himself, but as, like, they're starting to escape, Warp kind of just leaves Buzz's ass there.
He specifically distracts Buzz so that he can get away and Buzz gets caught, because they could have both escaped very easily if Warp hadn't chosen to, like, trick Buzz into staying behind.
Whoops.
As it turns out, Warp escaping, it was, like, the final, like, test between the two of them to see which side the Chlorm would side with, be it the good side or the evil side, and since Buzz got left behind, they decided, let's side with the evil, actually. We'll go give our stuff to Zurg.
In a last-minute ditch effort, Warp comes back to try and save Buzz, and that's when the good one declares, actually, since he came back, that means good prevails.
No, that was like, Buzz decided that since, like, Warp came back, that meant that, clearly this means that good is better, and then just like, who cares? Dissect them both. And then they had to just escape instead.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the one who agrees with good is like, this is proof, and the other one says, no, shut up.
Mm-hmm. Buzz and Warp escape, but Warp insists that it's not because I'm, like, you're my friend or anything, it's because, like, I can't drive stick shift, and gets launched out of the car.
Yeah.
And then meanwhile, the Chlorm are like, well, that was a bust. Let's just study the differences between men and women instead.
No.
Something about men being from Mars and women from Venus.
And that's the episode.
Yeah.
What a wild episode.
It's a fun one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's the first time we get to see Warp since the episode No Story 2, and it's the first one where he has a featuring role, and he's not the villain.
Yeah.
It kind of rules.
He's just some guy.
He's just some guy.
It's great to get Warp, honestly.
Oh yeah.
We can cover that more in the discussion portion of the episode. Shall we go on to the intermission?
Absolutely.
Hi, welcome to the intermission.
Hi.
We have something a little bit different for you today, Toby.
Oh boy.
So, Toby, in our DMs, Victor has shared with you a little web link if you would like to click on that.
Alright, who is your Blosk's dream guy? Ooh.
This is on Quotev. It is a quiz by Tessa Loves Ozzy, and it is a Buzz Lightyear quiz, one of, like, 4 that are on this website. I remember, like, old Quizilla quizzes, like, which character are you? And I would definitely fudge the results. But we thought it would be fun to use the quizzes we have available to us as an occasional, quiz. So today we are taking the quiz, who is your Blosk dream guy? Question number 1 of 6. Okay, what kind of personality do you prefer in a guy? Someone who is a hero through and through? I want someone who's a bit of a bad boy. Or someone who is very caring but has a good head on his shoulders too.
I want somebody who's kind of a bad boy. I love how small these screenshots are on this quiz, by the way.
Oh yeah,
so
do you want to describe the screenshot?
This is a screenshot for ants.
So question number 2. What kind of physical build do you want your guy to have? Not too buff, not skinny either. I want a guy with muscles, XD. Here, honey, let me rub some suntan lotion on you. Or, not all guys have to be buff, you know. I prefer someone who's a little on the skinny side.
Where is fat men? I guess not too buff, but not skinny either.
What date would you like to go on with your date? A romantic restaurant, someplace by the beach or pool or anywhere tropical, or stay-at-home movie night. You get first pick.
I like a romantic restaurant.
Question number 4. Uh-oh, trouble in paradise. You and your guy got into a fight. What happens? You two apologize right off. You two stay mad at each other for a couple of days, but everything works out in the end. Or you two apologize, but you won't forget what happened. That made you really mad.
I think we just apologized right off.
Question number 5. Okay, a short role play. You run into Buzz Lightyear. What's your reaction? Hooray! Oh no, not him. He's so uptight. Or, oh, hiya, Buzz.
Not him. He's so uptight. He's a cop. I don't want to talk.
Question 6 of 6. Out of the results here, who's your favorite? Buzz Lightyear, Warp Dark Matter, or Ty Parsec?
Guess what your options are for this quiz, by the way.
Oh man, Warp. I keep fucking up his name, but I love his design so much. Oh, awesome. Hey, guess who I got?
You got Buzz Lightyear. You prefer a man who is more chivalrous and more of the knight in shining armor type. Buzz may be a little slow and dense when it comes to the opposite sex. With a little help from you, he can be your dream guy.
With a little help from you, Toby, Buzz can realize he's gay.
He's got so many dudes who can figure that out for him. I refuse. But I got Warp Dark Matter.
Did you?
It says for mine. Yeah.
But
I clicked on the same ones you picked.
Same.
Did you
Huh?
Did you misclick somewhere?
I don't think so.
Did I misclick somewhere?
I don't know. I also got the Buzz Lightyear one.
Okay.
I don't know how I got Warp.
Wait. Okay, let me go back.
Okay, you want a bad boy.
Yep.
You want not too buff, not too skinny.
Yep.
You want a romantic restaurant. You
Yep.
two apologize right off.
Yep.
Not him. He's so uptight. And you
Yep.
like Warp.
Yes.
Yeah, that gives you Buzz.
Why did I get... Huh? How did I get... How did I get Warp? Alright. Somebody's kind of a bad boy. Not too buff, not too skinny. A romantic restaurant. Apologize right off. Not him. Warp Dark Matter. Oh, now I got Buzz. What happened?
I don't know. Anyway, you've been paired with Buzz.
Oh god, get me out of here. Oh, because I figured out why it happened. Because I got 3 for Buzz and 3 for Warp, so it just picked randomly.
Oh, huh.
Oh, okay. That's weird.
Huh.
I will say I took this quiz just before recording just because, and I got Ty.
Nice.
Should I take the quiz now?
Yes.
Also, I like that this quiz, assigns, I assume, the guy who's on the skinny side to Ty. It's just have you seen that guy's torso?
All men have torsos like this.
They're all like Dorito men in this show.
They're also barrel-chested.
I got Ty Parsec.
Yay!
Hey.
You didn't pick the same answers I did.
Oh, fun.
Huh. I guess it is
So-
randomized.
Truly, it is a crime that they don't have Zurg or any other dude on here. Clearly, this needs to be rectified. I have one note, real
Yes?
quick. This was posted in 2013, so 11 years ago, on my birthday.
Oh, wow.
Amazing. And your dream guy wasn't there at the time.
Nope.
I do mean Nosferatu, of course, not myself.
Of course.
Okay, back to the episode.
To
Absolutely.
the episode. All right, welcome back from the break.
Hello.
Hello. So, Toby, what did you think of this episode?
I thought this was just a really fun episode. Listen, I am a huge, schmarmy villain lover, and just being able to see, Warp kind of have his own episode along with Buzz was really fun. I will say, the Clorm, that one that didn't talk very much, was a little scary. Just a little bit.
The one that just makes a lot of crazy garbled noises.
Yeah, I was not expecting that when we were watching the episode.
And like just the facial expressions that one makes too.
Oh yeah. The animators probably had a blast with that one.
Yep. I mean, that is a Frank Welker character, so.
Yeah.
Ah.
So it was Epoch is the one that makes the crazy noises.
Mm-hmm. And Era, yeah, that one's the one who was like on the side of evil. That is voiced by Jonathan Harris, who
Most recognizably, I think for most people, was Manny the praying mantis in A Bug's Life.
the other one, Eon, that's the one who was on the side of good.
Bill Mummy.
Yeah.
Ah.
That one's actually like another Babylon 5 actor.
Oh, we got our Babylon 5 connection.
He was, let me see. Yeah, he was Will Robinson in the 1965 Lost in Space series for 84 episodes.
This was definitely a really fun episode. There was a lot of fun little fights. It was really nice to see, like, some past stuff with Buzz and Warp. What did y'all think about it coming back to it?
So it was fun. It was a lot of fun. The animation was a little weird. It's the one with a lot of, like, the really strong expressions, I think. But I think it was fun. I like seeing Warp around. I love, like, the little bit where the whole crew was visiting Buzz at his house, and XR hands him, like, a plate of baked goods, and he's like, yeah, thanks for the brownies. He's like, actually, they're snickerdoodles. I need to adjust my microwave settings, and then just leaves.
I like that Buzz, like, just has a bunch of robots that, you know, with the press of a button, cleans up everything on his house for him, and he's just, like, clearly annoyed at that.
Oh, yeah, isn't his house literally, like, based on the House of the Future from Tomorrowland?
Yes, actually, yes.
When
you said that it looks like Tomorrowland, that was on purpose.
Yeah.
Huh, that's really neat.
I mean, Star Command is just Space Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that either. That's really cool.
Yeah, a lot of the, like, designs for Capital Planet and Star Command and stuff are, like, based on things from Tomorrowland. Like, you know, since it is a Disney property, they were like, let's put a little reference to that in here.
This is what the Tomorrowland movie should have been.
Yes.
Aw, man. That's actually really cool.
This is what the Lightyear should have been.
Yeah.
Lightyear should have been about Buzz Lightyear in Tomorrowland.
Yes.
But that's really cool. I didn't know that. But that really is interesting, and I really see how, like, Tomorrowland really lends itself to a lot of, like, the background designs and stuff like that. So that's really cool.
Yeah, it's the fun retrofuturism stuff.
Mm-hmm. Especially since that's what they were, like, referencing and designing the show and the characters and stuff. They were referencing the whole concept of retrofuturism.
Hell yeah.
That whole sequence where Buzz is at home, like, having all the chores done for him does put me in mind of that one episode of The Simpsons where, like, it's the Hank Scorpio episode, but, like, where Marge runs out of chores to do and just turns to the wine bottle, and I keep imagining Buzz doing that. He just starts getting wine drunk at 4 p.m.
Oh, we totally neglected to talk about the most important character who shows up in this episode, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Ed the Courier.
Ed the Courier. We love Ed the Delivery Man. He is a recurring character. He's not important.
Awesome.
He did have to, like, go through an elaborate process to verify Buzz's identity to, you know, ensure that the package was going to the correct person, because apparently in the courier business, he does deal with a lot of, like, weird stuff as well.
Evil holograms, and that's why they force you to take a DNA test in order to get your packages from USPS in the future.
That's absolutely wild. Honestly, if I was at a point where, like, I have to do a DNA test to get any of my packages, I'm fine. I'll just go to a store.
This is how we can kill Amazon.
What?
You know, nobody will be ordering packages anymore if they have to give DNA evidence to
But
USPS.
honey, people already give DNA evidence to the mail. Like, what do you think 23andMe is doing?
I don't think it goes directly to the delivery guy.
No, but it gets shipped to the delivery guy, so they still have their hands on it.
Well, I think it's definite.
Can't believe the delivery guy stole my DNA.
I think it's definitely different being like, here's my DNA for a service, and here's just straight up my DNA.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I can't get my delivery of liquids hand soap.
So this episode, considering the pilot movie was made after the rest of the series, a lot of the series is better understood for how they present things, understanding that, like, they didn't expect people to see the pilot movie at all, because, you know, they weren't planning to make it. So this is the episode where we find out, like, Warp's backstory with Buzz, where they were partners in and pals in college, in police college, and then, you know, Warp decided to become evil. And we see why Warp decided to become evil. It's, like, because it pays more. Like, literally pays more. Some, like, random little bug thing goes up to him and it's just like, hey, Zurg likes your style. Here's some cash if you, like, do stuff for him. And he was just like, cool.
He was out there, like, stealing shit from the armory to send to Zurg, cheating just because, like, skills tests and such.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of being an asshole. And we love him for it.
We really do. Honestly, if you're gonna do that shit, like, at school and get away with it, I don't know, I think you deserve to get that cash. Get that bag. School's expensive.
Fuck the cops, sell their guns, make a lot of money,
Buy yourself a moon.
buy a moon, get what must be the Blosk equivalent of a McMansion, and have hot ladies bring you drinks and stuff.
Exactly. Get that bag.
So what do we think of the Clorm?
A little scary, but I do want to say I really like that for this particular species of alien, they did kind of lean into, like, the most well-known thing that we have in terms of, like, alien lore of just, like, oh, you know, just randomly abducting a person, wiping their memory, and putting a little thing on them to keep an eye out for them. It is just kind of a really fun thing. I'm not sure if their design really leans towards, like, well-known, like, alien concepts. Well, I guess a little bit because of the huge head.
Yeah, they're gray, they got huge heads and big old eyes.
They also have the floating robot bodies, which is a classic thing in, like, showing that they are a hyper-evolved species in that they don't need their physical bodies anymore, that they have, like, robot bodies replacing them.
So true.
That's a classic
So true.
trope.
We do also get to see them again, and a lot more of them in exactly 10 episodes.
Oh boy, that'll be fun. I can't wait to see how possibly diverse they can get with these designs.
It's not exactly 10, by the way.
Oh. Yeah,
Because
so...
we were doing it in airing order, remember? You wanted to talk about, like, slugs.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring this up as a general Blosk thing, because it is a gag in this episode that during the, like, fight that Buzz and Warp are having at the beginning, Warp and Buzz get knocked into, like, a stall on
It's Trade World.
Yeah, on a Trade World, like, shop stall, and they realize that they are now covered in a fertilizer, which is PV and slug guano, and it is a recurring joke that, like, man, that stuff really stinks. Ah, man, they probably had to burn my suit. And then by the end, Buzz finds out that they did have to burn his suit because it smelled so bad.
Oh.
But anyway, I was just noticing that in Buzz Lightyear, you know how they say, like, all evolution leads to crabs? It seems like in this universe, all evolution leads to worms and slugs at some point or another. Because, like, 90% of the time when they show or mention, mostly when they mention, like, creatures, their go-to is a slug or worm of some kind.
Mm.
Like, you've got the PV and slug guano. You've got the, like, brain-eating slug from Beasts of Karn. And they specifically reference how, like, one of the big black market items is, like, a certain kind of, like, slug skin carpet. I think they go for slugs a lot and worms. And it is a thing I noticed.
Oh, that's really neat. I did not notice that. But yeah, you're right. There's just a lot of slugs.
Yeah, like Gravitina's weird cat is like a slug thing.
Mm-hmm. It's again, it's a reference to all the sci-fi where there are just weird giant worms and stuff. Like Dune, I believe, is one of them.
Yeah, Dune is a giant worms thing. There are more worms and slugs in the future.
Like there's Dune, there's Star Wars, there's that one that you talk about a lot with the Tremors.
Yeah, Tremors and their worms.
Yeah, worms are just a popular creature for science fiction.
They're easy to make puppets out of.
That's true. What is a sock puppet but kind of worm?
Exactly.
The girl!
Oh, the dog has pushed the door open.
Oh.
Hi, Pretzel. Sit. Oh, okay, just a second. Let me chase her out.
She realized that the door wasn't fully closed. I was wondering when that would happen.
My bad. I thought it was.
Pretzel.
Yeah, girl. Go.
She has been tricked.
Haha.
I have betrayed her trust.
How could you?
I mean, it's thematically appropriate to the episode.
Oh yeah, like, don't you just love how petty Warp is? Just like, he didn't need to trick Buzz at the very end to like escape without him. He just chose to do that anyway.
And we love that. We love a petty bitch.
Buzz did get his revenge by getting him to jump down into the waste disposal tube, and then followed him in afterwards because they were told repeatedly that that's the best way to get in and out of this place without being caught. But he did get him to jump into the raw sewage first.
Like, going in, Warp tricked Buzz into like diving into the line of fire before him, and then like immediately got caught afterwards. And so that was his little petty revenge for that, like making him jump into the sewage first.
Mm-hmm.
The mention of like, that smells worse than like the guano did. And then, you know, as they're escaping is when Warp decides, actually, I'm going to trick you into believing that there's another civilian that needs to be rescued, so I can leave you behind, even though I don't need to do this. Comes back for him, as we discussed, pretends the whole reason is because, like, he can't drive stick, which, love that stick shift is still a thing in the future, and still a thing that people don't know how to use.
Space stick shift.
Space stick shift.
And then, like, insists that, like, no, I'm on the side of evil, we can't be friends, I'm going to just go back to the status quo after this, and Buzz is like, okay, and then hits the eject button and, like, leaves him stranded. Warp's just like, you couldn't have just waited until you dropped me off at home?
We could have at least stayed friends till we got back home. Long enough for a ride home. I don't know, Warp, I think that one's on your own. We get to see another consumer spacesuit this episode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the one, because Buzz doesn't have his suit because they can't give it to him, partially because they need to burn it because it smells awful, partially because, you know, they don't want him on the force while they don't know, like, what information that tracking device might be, like, giving to people. Which, by the way, that tracking device has been in him since the Academy, and they know it's been in him since the Academy because they have records of his, like, health the entire time, and they just never said anything about it until now because, like, they just never bothered to see that it was a problem, I guess.
Yes.
Here's my theory on that, and it might be a wild one. What if that weird slug guano just kind of did something to the trackers, and that's why now it's a problem?
I love the theory, but they do say in the episode that the whole reason this happened is because Eon had the bright idea to, like, shut down the trackers for, like, 12 hours or 8 hours or whatever, and it gave them enough time to realize that something was wrong.
Oh,
Yeah, they shut down
that's
the
right.
trackers for some kind of routine maintenance or something,
Mm-hmm.
and that knocked them unconscious for 8 hours.
And
Oh,
so that was
that's
enough
right.
to, like, and so that, like, alerted them that something was up, and so that's how they, like, actually looked at their files and saw, like, oh yeah, this tracker's just been in you since the Academy days.
Maybe they thought it was
That's
a
right.
bone spur until now.
Maybe.
There's nothing
It's
wrong
like-
with a singular bone spur in the back of your neck. It's fine.
It's just, like, weird how Warp has the same exact bone spur. Anyway.
What's a bone spur amongst friends?
I was going to say just, like, you know, the classic scenario of you and your buddy go out drinking one night and then you get, like, matching piercings in the back of your neck. So back to that consumer spacesuit, though.
Yeah. I think it's fun that we get to see another one. We don't know where this one was made. It's not specifically Tangian or belonging to a royal Tangian guy. It's just one that you can order through the mail, and it's faulty.
It's also, it's supposed to be designed to, like, warp to your specific body shape,
It's like a one-size-fits-all thing.
but it's very bad at doing that.
Oh yeah, it's very early Amazon coded.
It's like, you know, you can press the buttons to make it, like, expand or get skinnier or stuff, and Skinny Buzz jump scare at one point.
Yeah. Skinny Buzz jump
Real.
scare.
But it's how they manage to escape later, because they just use the fact that the suit can, like, adjust how long it is and stuff to ridiculous proportions to grapple onto things, essentially, just like you would with a rope.
Mm-hmm.
Of note, this spacesuit is not an exact match, but it does like bring to mind the Rocketeer.
Oh yeah, it is. It's very like Jules Verne's-esque with like that.
Oh, I see.
It is a classic piece of like kind of science fiction media.
And honestly, the more references to other like sci-fi pieces of media, the more I'm just like, oh shit, I know these things. It's really cool. I like it.
It's very fun in that it's so like mired in like classic sci-fi.
Hell yeah. And we love that. The other thing I wanted to ask y'all, because as part of the fandom bit, what's the general response to, like, Warp as a character?
People like Warp. He's sexy. He's a bad boy. He's very popular with, like, or he was very popular specifically with, like, you know, the heterosexual women in the fandom who wanted a bad boy.
He was also popular with the people who wanted, like, someone to ship with Ty.
Oh, yeah.
Like, a gay ship with Ty specifically, because clearly this guy would get along with Ty better than Buzz, right?
We'll see when we get to Ty, but yes, we are also people who do that. Shakes your hand.
There's a reason why in our little quiz segment from this episode, Buzz, Warp, and Ty were the three, like, options, and it's because those were the three standard attractive men.
Clearly, our horizons have expanded over the years.
We've gone to new bounds.
You know, us three specifically.
Well, I mean, I've always been a robot fucker. I liked the robots better.
That's fair.
I don't remember his ships being, like, particularly more popular than some of the other ships, but he did have a few of them. He was shipped with Mira, he was shipped with Gravatina. Like, you'll see in another episode that Gravatina shows up in that, like, she finds someone who is almost an AU version of Warp. If she had met Warp instead, she would have, like, fallen for that guy so bad.
Mm-hmm. You know, they're, like, since we know for a fact that, like, later on in the series that all the villains do occasionally just meet and hang out, you know those two are, like, occasionally going on dates, probably.
And you know what? Good for them. They'll, probably make each other worse.
Oh, yeah. You know that breakup will be legendary. And they weren't even actually dating.
Mm-hmm. Just like, I think we need to see other people. And just like, what do you mean?
Throwing chairs. Both of them.
Am I not good enough for you? Oh, Toby, actually.
Yeah.
Question for you.
Yes?
Considering this is, like, the first episode that we get to see, like, Buzz and Warp palling around, I guess. What's your take on their relationship?
I think, trying to figure out the best way to word this, I think Buzz is a fucking jerk. Just a little bit. He's just so much of, like, I hope I get a good grade and everything that, like, he's a little airheaded when it comes to other people, which I think is definitely why, like, Warp was able to get away with so much bullshit, especially in the Academy. And I think that's kind of why Warp especially is just like, oh, I can just do whatever around this guy, awesome. And he won't say a thing.
Mm-hmm.
That is until he gets caught, but, you know, by the time he gets caught, he literally is just, like, telling Buzz that he is doing all this shit. And that's when he actually gets it.
Yeah, Buzz is so convinced that because they're friends that Warp can't be up to anything that he will just overlook all of it.
Buzz sure does, like, assume things about people.
He sure does. I think that's why they were friends for just so long. Otherwise, I think Warp would have dunked Buzz's head in the toilet several times.
Giving him a swirly.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it is a lot easier to get away with doing evil shit at school if, like, your Hamon or best friend believes that you're not doing anything wrong, and therefore you can just do anything. And, well, Buzz says I'm doing everything right, and it's just like, Buzz, do you not see your best friend stealing stuff? And Buzz is like, my best friend would never steal stuff. Genuine.
Real and true.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's fun. I think it's funny.
What do you think of their, like, current dynamic, I guess, of, like, how they're acting when they're not directly fighting?
I'm not sure if this is going to happen later in any of the episodes, but I think it'd be fun to see just, like, Warp change sides again, and it's just like, ah, damn it, I care about this shithead. I can't be evil for this long.
Oh, if only.
If only.
That's just because, like, I see these tropes and I'm like, oh, I recognize these things happening in, like, other kid shows that I watched, like, when I was younger. And I was like, oh, that'll be really cool to see. But if he's just evil all the time, fuck yeah, I'm here for it.
I do think we only have, like, one character who gets a redemption in this, like, whole series.
Well, one recurring character, yeah.
Yeah, one recurring character who gets a redemption in this whole series.
Oh.
Have fun guessing who. You know who it is.
You have seen that episode, yes.
Yeah.
There's another character who, like, gets a redemption technically, and it's in an episode you hate. The dad.
We'll get there. Not for a long time, thankfully.
Oh
man.
boy.
Watch, I'm gonna see this episode again, and it's not gonna be as bad as I remember, maybe, and I'm just gonna be like, wow, I really hyped up how shit this was. Or it's gonna be just as bad as I remember,
Well-
and I'm gonna be like, I was right.
Well, here's the thing. The part of it that you think is shit is inherently shit.
That's true, it is like the concept of the episode also.
Yeah. It's like, I don't think the episode itself is that bad as you make it sound to be. It's literally just because, like, the events of the episode, when seen through the lens of a mature adult, understanding, like, oh yeah, this is actually kind of fucked up.
It skeezes me out so bad.
It's the same thing with, like, Gravitina, where, like, back when it first aired, and as a kid, you're not gonna, like, see anything wrong with it, but as an adult, you look back on it and you're like, oh yeah, that episode sure is full of sexual harassment towards a male character that was played for laughs because of it's the male character being sexually harassed and not a lady.
Yeah.
It's just, like, going to be similar vibes to that, just going to that episode later, except Victor here already determined that, like, oh yeah, that actually is kind of creepy.
I hate it. We'll get there. That's definitely my least favorite episode of the series.
Oh yeah, speaking of episodes of the series, this one that we're currently discussing, we should probably get back to that. Did you catch the joke of the title of the episode being Tag Team?
Oh yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, because they were tagged
God.
and they're a team, and I love that like whole thing with like having the trackers in them gets like resolved just by them getting captured and the Chlorm being like, okay, let's remove the trackers now because you made your way here and now it's kind of pointless to have them. We're just gonna dissect you anyway, so we want our trackers back.
Point of me being a pedant, they weren't going to dissect them. They were going to vivisect them. They were alive when they started that whole laser thing.
That's fair. They gotta see how they tick, like while they're still ticking.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no point in dissecting a dead body at that point. It's just like, how do these things work? We just have a bunch of organs here that like might as well be Play-Doh. Bowling blocks, that's the word I meant. Lego.
You can't tell who's evil and who's not unless you hear them scream.
What?
I don't know. I'm just imagining the reasoning you would have to do to go ahead and start a live dissection when you're determining what makes them good or evil. I guess the physical differences they assume are there.
Technically, the reason why is because they are goading them to try and escape.
That's true. They do call it a test right after they escape.
Yeah, that's like the whole point of it is like we know that this is going to like lead. Here's the thing we didn't mention: when they show up and like they start like trying to like backtalk the Chlorm. The Chlorm are already just like laughing at them and predicting their actions and just like saying the things that they know they're going to say because they have like very grounded habits that they have recognized from all these years of tracking them. And so they know that like, yeah, this is what we need to do to get you to try to escape so we can see which of you like actually escapes, be it like both of you together or just one of you. Because we know one of you is going to escape for sure. It's probably going to be the evil guy, and I don't want it to be the evil guy, says Eon, who just like, but I want to side with the good guys. They seem more fun.
I like how he's like that. Like, he does want to side with the good guys, but he is most determinedly not. Like, whatever alien morality they're operating on, he's still taking this from a science perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just like, man, I think the good guys are fun. I like them. I guess we're not teaming up with them, though, so they're still animals to me.
Mm-hmm. He was siding with the good side, saying that, like, oh, but, like being evil, like, brings nothing, like, of emotional value, and like, these creatures value psychological connection and stuff. Meanwhile, Era's just like, who cares?
We like money. Transcending bizarre alien morality, there is always capitalism.
Mm-hmm. This sure is a show full of capitalism.
Capitalism is forever, unfortunately.
What greater evil is there?
True.
Well, there's cops.
See, they serve the capitalism.
God. Insane.
On that note of cops being the greatest evil alongside capitalism, I guess we should end it with our little call sign after we say where you can find us. Hello, it's Editor Alexander, cutting in again to update the social media for everyone. You can find Victor at Python Melon on Blue Sky and Tumblr and Ko-fi. You can find Toby at Tobias Langley on Blue Sky and as Tobi Jam on Ko-fi. Don't find me, but follow our Mercury Melon YouTube channel, support us on Patreon at our Mercury Melon Patreon, where you can get access to episodes as I finish them early, access to our other projects early, including my comics and Victor's writing, and send any thoughts, fandom lore, anything like that to our mercurymelonyt@gmail.com email address. With that, I guess now we go back to our evils of
Our little call sign,
Mhm.
A-Scab.
all space cops are bastards.
Hey, Scab, we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, Peavy and Slug Guano. That's just great, Lightyear. You have any idea how much this suit costs?